Well, it's good to be here. This is a very familiar place. I was an associate pastor here, and so definitely been in this room preaching a lot. I was the youth pastor in particular, so yeah, been in here a lot. Would you guys like to play some games? We did a lot of that in here. It's good to be here. It's good to be around individuals who not only love God, but are truly, as the phrase goes, as cliche as it might sound now, be in the hands and feet of Jesus. You know, everywhere you go, you got your group, you got your people who you minister to on a regular basis. You're available all the time. You know, you get whatever sleep you're able to get, and whatever money happens to stay in your bank account by the end of the month, you know, God bless you. I'm glad. You know, I know that you guys are going all the way to the end, and it's much appreciated what you do. I am a father of 5, as mentioned. My wife and I will make 13 years in June, so next month. So that came kind of fast. Yeah, we are a big family. I have 5 sons, so pray for me. No, it is amazing. I love family. God met me at a young age. My mother and my dad had us in Oak Cliff, and it's 7 of us. And so they went from 4 to 7. They had triplets on that last go-around. And so imagine that. Tell you a funny story about that. We're family now, so I'll just tell you. When they went to the doctor that they went to, because my mom found out she was pregnant, they saw a second heartbeat. And apparently my parents freaked out so much that they didn't tell them about the third. So when she went to her actual OB-GYN, and they go in, and he says, "So you're having triplets?" And my mom and my dad are like, "No, we're having twins." And they're like, "No, it's right here in the chart. You got triplets on the way." So the family grew really fast. My mom held down a lot of our family. To be honest, the way my family approaches it, nobody can talk about my dad but us. But he didn't do everything he was supposed to do as a husband and as a father. So my mom pretty much held down everything. They got a divorce 2 years before my dad passed. He passed the first day of school, junior year in high school. I say all that to give you a little bit of background. My mom was very adamant about our education. She didn't finish at El Centro College, what was then El Centro, but she made it clear, you're going to college, but your brain is going to have to pay for it. That was always the thing. Your brain is going to have to pay for it. You're going to college? So I always knew I was going to college. I just knew my brain had to pay for it. Now I like to say that across all of the kids, she didn't finish college, but she can claim about 13 degrees, you know, plus some certifications and all of those things. And she didn't come from that herself. She was focused on making sure we were raised well. You know, she was focused on making sure we knew the Lord. I started preaching at a very young age. I started preaching around 12. And that's when the Lord let me know that's what he called me to do. That very moment when I got up there, that was a huge moment. I still remember what it looked like. I still remember that space. I was just asked, you know, hey, Youth Sunday is coming up, which is when the youth did more of the stuff on Sunday. You guys probably had that, you know. And they said, who wants to read a scripture and explain it? I said, I'll read a scripture and explain it. No, nobody helped me prepare. Nobody went over anything with me. I just got in my word, started going through it, and the Lord made it all make sense. And around that time, he had given me this ravenous desire for the word. I prepared a sermon. And I didn't know to call it a sermon. I just, hey, I'm gonna do what you said. And I could see the impact in the room on the people. They weren't responding simply because I was 12 years old. I was this kid. They were responding because of the truth in the message. And that has always stuck with me. So that'll forever be the case, whether I'm in full-time ministry, part-time ministry, whatever. That's my life. Ministry is service. You guys know that. You are serving every day. A day might go by when you don't preach, you know, but you are serving. You are helping somebody get from one step to the next. And so I'm grateful for that. I want to tell you a story about a dad and a daughter. The dad is rushing. He's trying to get to this birthday party. He's got the daughter with him. Come on, come on, come on, come on. They're running in the store, last minute gift, that kind of situation. He's going and he's looking in the store. And this young girl, she's very smart, very inquisitive. And so, of course, everywhere she goes, she's looking around. And she sees a gentleman wearing an oxygen mask, and he has an oxygen tank with him. And she looks, and she says, "Daddy, what's that?" And he said, "Oh, it's an oxygen tank. He just uses that, so he can breathe." He's trying to go on. Come on. And so she's moving with him, but she's looking back, watching him. And she's like, "That's kind of cool." So in the tank is oxygen. And he's like, yes. And he's looking, trying to get whatever it is. And it helps him breathe. Yes, it helps him breathe. He's trying to move on, and she's like, "We should get one of those. And he looks at her, and he says, "He needs the air to breathe." And she says, "Daddy, we all need air to breathe. He just knows how bad he needs it." Those are the individuals that we end up serving most of the time. Everybody on this planet needs air. Everybody on this planet needs the Lord. Everybody, but some people are in such a position where they recognize how bad they need it. Everybody actually needs it the same way. If any of our air gets taken away right now, we'll see Jesus a lot faster than we thought. Prayerfully, that doesn't happen because I don't want it to be associated with what I just said. We all need Jesus at all times, but some of us are in such tough situations where it's clear that other things in life will not fill that hole. Those tend to be the people who are seeking the help. They are seeking the support. They are seeking the freedom. And so, as believers, we step up, we evangelize, we bring them the message, but we all know that is not where it stops. You might bring them the message of the Lord, but they are in a specific situation that they need solved. They need resources. They need help. They need guidance. They need support. And so we find ourselves, if you work in missions, you find yourself trying to do everything you can to solve that particular problem. Can anybody agree with that? Have you been in that spot where you're driving somebody to pick up groceries, or you're trying to take them to daycare because the car is down, or you're trying to find rent assistance places and things like that in order to make sure a person can make it to their next step? That is what we do. My question is, have we missed out on some resources that are on the table? Have we left a little bit on the table? Now, the reason why I bring that up is because as a minister, I will always be in ministry. I care about people. And at the same time, I've worked in education for a number of years, specifically on the grant side, specifically on the higher education side. So anytime I have a student in front of me, a parent in front of me with an issue that stems from a specific place, my mind starts to think of the resources that they need to tap into. Many of the problems that we see have to do with one particular culprit called poverty. That tends to be what it is. When poverty increases, home insecurity increases, health issues increase, income disparities increase, drug use increases, crime increases, all of those things. Whenever you see poverty in a specific area, it doesn't matter who is there, you start to see stress rise, which causes different bouts of, you start to get into it. You know how it is when you hadn't ate, get a little hangry, right? And you have food at home, but you're hangry right there in that moment. You don't want to talk. You might be a little snappy with your significant other or the kids or a coworker just because you haven't got back to your desk to eat. But just imagine if you didn't know where that next meal was going to come from. How does that compound over time? And that's just one simple aspect. When we see poverty, the lack of having the things you need to live your life, all of these other things come out of it. If you didn't know, most crimes are not like Ocean's 11. Like, it's not that fun, you know? You watch Ocean's 11 and you're like, man, maybe I should go into this, you know? Maybe I'm joking, guys, I'm joking. But you watch that and it kind of makes it a heroic kind of situation. You find yourself rooting for the villain, right? They write it that way, where you're like, oh, wow, I hope they escape, you know? It looks pretty cool, but most crimes are not like that. Most crimes, you're really risking your life. Most crimes are really dangerous. They're scary. They're not that fun. And you risk such impact on you and your family. In other words, people are not just signing up to go do crime. They're not like, that's the thing I love. You're gonna find some people who, you know, maybe that's the family business, right? That's what we do. That's how we're raised. But many folks find themselves in a situation where they say, well, now I'm considering a thing that maybe I wouldn't have considered because of the circumstance that I'm in. All of these things increase when we see poverty. So the way I think, the way my mind works, I say, well, okay, I always want to look at the problem itself. There's symptoms, but I want to look at the problem itself. If the symptom is crime, I want to look at the problem of poverty, because if I solve poverty, then I can solve some of these other issues, right? And then maybe my ministry, maybe my time can kind of be used in a different way. Maybe our arms will be expanded a little bit. Maybe we can carry something differently. Maybe we don't have to carry as much if that same family didn't have that same poverty issue. They got a new car now, and they needed that. But also, the job is still the same. She still works where she works. He still works where he works. He's still struggling trying to get into the stream of upward mobility in the Metroplex. Now, I work at Dallas College. That's where I work. But there's all kinds of community colleges in the area. Now, what I submit to you is that the community college system is strategically placed in this Metroplex in order to be one of the best partners a ministry could have. One of the best partners. Now, I can speak for Dallas College because I work there, but I also know Tarrant County colleges and Collin colleges, and actually the grant that I'm one of the administrators on, they're a part of that consortium. There's a lot of resources out there. Community colleges are set up in such a way where they don't want to keep anybody out. Literally, the goal of a community college is to get individuals into the stream of education, which yields another job, a career path, not just a job, income change, which impacts the household. Community colleges are not exclusive. Now, I did attend an institution that I would say is exclusive by price tag alone. Can anybody guess when I was in college what the per credit hour cost was for tuition for me? Just throw something out there, have some fun with it. $500, nice. Keep going. $1,500, too high. Too low, too high. In between. Just under $1,000. Each class is about 3 credit hours, maybe 4, which means each class is about $3,000. Now, that was when I was in school. The tuition has went up since then. It goes up every year. And I will say that particular institution, it'll cost you, on the lower end, it's going to cost you about $250,000 to finish 4 years there. $250,000. Some of you guys are like, just give that to me and we can run this ministry for a good, we can run this ministry for a good while. But let me ask you a question. That was back then, so it's increased now. How much do you think a credit hour is at Dallas College? $100. Keep going. $250. No, lower. A little bit higher. A little bit higher. A little bit higher. Give me 3 more bucks. $79. $79 a credit hour. Think about this. It's $79 a credit hour. Each class is about 3 credit hours. This class is about $300. In order for you to get a bachelor's degree, you need 120 credit hours. Now, most community colleges don't have bachelor's degrees, not Dallas College. Dallas College has one, and the nursing bachelor's, I think, will be live in the fall. But we have a bachelor's degree in early education. So for teachers, you get your teacher certification, all of that stuff. Bachelor's degree at Dallas College, your whole 4 years, tuition costs will be less than 10 grand. Now, think about that for a second. That's not exclusive at all. You know people right now who could get into that program at that cost and then become a teacher, which is a career path. It includes a salary. It includes paid time off. It includes benefits, a retirement package, all of those different things. That system is not perfect. We know retirement has its issues and all of that. But compared to poverty, we're talking about a grand difference. And think just for a second what that would do to that household. You probably have a family in mind right now that you're thinking about. That if that parent could finish that degree and make 60 grand, that might be 3 times what they make right now. And you say, whoa, what would that do for their youngest son? What would that do for their daughter? What would that do for where they live? And how could things change for them? See, that is the beauty of a community college. You'll see similar stories at Tarrant and Collin. In the Metroplex, and this is a specific, really DFW kind of a thing. This is not, a highly rural area where there's no community college. I'm speaking about this area right here. You have an opportunity, we have an opportunity to actually start breaking some cycles in a different way. Because the ministry happens up front as it relates to the spiritual, right? We're going to feed them spiritually. We do everything we can spiritually. We're going to make sure they get all that support spiritually that they need. But then we find ourselves running out of resources on the other side. Am I right? How much food do we have in the food pantry? How much space do we actually have for this and that? How much can we pay for transportation? How much can we do? Well, the beautiful thing about these community colleges are they are funded very well. The grant I work on, is $8.7 million. 3-year, $8.7 million grant. Being on this grant, the goal of this grant is to take underrepresented populations and support them by paying the tuition and them getting into a program that will lead to a career in biotech or biotech adjacent fields. That's just one grant. One grant. Dallas College has a ton of grants. Not only that, Dallas College has a ton of industry-recognized credentials. Now, what's an industry-recognized credential? This is how Texas determines what's industry-recognized. They say a high school graduate with no other education goes into this field. What do they make? Okay, this is what they make. And then they say a person who got that high school diploma and then got this credential, what do they make? If there's a difference, they say, okay, it must be industry recognized. A substantial difference, right? I'll say not a minuscule difference. If they only get paid 2 pennies more, that's not gonna count. But if they get paid $5 more an hour, that's industry recognized. That means that industry says, this person actually knows how to do this job. They're more qualified. We're going to pay them more. $5 an hour more is, what is that, $200 more a week, $800 more a month? Dallas College has pathways into these. Still for $79 a credit hour. You'll find the same thing at Tarrant and Collin. You want to be a phlebotomist. You want to be a surgical tech. You want to be a sterile processing tech. You want to be a pharmacy tech. All of these different roles are not even associate's degrees. They're certifications, meaning they take even less time, meaning they cost even less money. Why is this important? This is important because all of these places are available to your students, your parents, your neighbors near your ministries. And many times we try to shoulder this load ourselves. We'll figure it out, we'll find a way, but do you call in the college to say, hey, can you come and talk about the top 10 growing industries in the area? Can you come talk about that? Dallas College has what we call the LMIC, Labor Market Intelligence Center. And what they do is they research everything in the labor market. And they actually do take some inquiries from community organizations, which means as a community organization, you might send an email and say, hey, is it possible for you to send me a report on the top 10 growing industries over the next 10 years? Why is that important to you? Because you don't want to sell your people a dream. If this job is going away next year, we don't want you to get any degrees in this area. But if this job is going to continue to grow for the next 10 years, this might be something that's good for you and your siblings and your neighbors. So you get that list and you say, does Dallas College have programs that train you to be in these areas? Oh, it looks like they do. Okay, Dallas College also has financial aid to pay for classes. So then you start walking your students through how to do that. And by students, I mean anybody, anybody who wants to be a student. You walk them through the financial aid process. Then they get some support for taking these classes, most likely. It depends on their situation. But many times they qualify for the maximum amount of financial aid because of the situation that they're in. That means they can pay for school. But what else does the community colleges have? Oh, hey guys, this gym, that's yours. Go to this gym when you want to go to this gym. The library, it's open for you at all times. The clothing closet, that's open for you at all times. The food pantry on campus, that's open for you at all times. Oh, as long as you're enrolled in one class and you've paid for one class, whether it be out of your own pocket, scholarship, financial aid, you've paid for one class, you get a DART pass. So you can ride public transit all you need to. What does this mean for someone in a particular situation? This means they actually have those resources. And what does it mean for you as a ministry? It means that now you can, even more than you might be doing now, you can plan out the future with that particular individual. It's not just solving the gas problem they have now. It's, hey, we just need you to finish getting this credential. If you can finish getting this, we know they're already hiring here, here, and here. This is your opportunity. And what does that do for your ministry, though? All of a sudden, you start to shift how you approach those individuals, how you want to help those individuals. Because you know, whenever you're going into a new step of life, there's going to be new challenges, right? So if I'm going to school now, that means I need the time to do it. I need the space to study. I may need a laptop. I might need extra childcare, all of those things. And you, as the God-fearing, God-filled person you are, the book of James is just all in your heart. And you say, well, if I see you hungry, I can't just say, go be fed and be well and pray for you. I have to step in the best way I can. How does that change what you ask donors for? It changes a lot. Because now you're saying, we have a group of 20 students that are going off to school. We have a group of moms in an apartment complex. 6 of them, they're taking a class together. And we are trying to hire 3 tutors that tutor 3 nights out of the week. That's going to cost us $60,000 for the whole year. That's what we're looking for. We need their schedules to be flexible, and we want to pay them well to come in and tutor our moms so that they're successful in this class. That's what we want. Well, I'll tell you, from the side that is going to give, they say, oh, I can see the use for that. That makes a ton of sense. Okay, the tutors are going to help with that, but what else do you need? I don't know if you've ever been asked that question before, but what else do you need? Oh, well, we actually need some support on laptops. We have this laptop program where we have the moms pay $100 and we'll cover the rest of the cost. Would you like to sponsor 20 laptops this year? Oh, wow. I like that. I like that. This is where we start to get creative. This is where we start to ask certain questions. This is where we start to say, hey, this is what I'm needing because we want them to be successful. Why? Because in the end, the hope is they're going to get this job. And it's not just a job, it's a career. And when they get that career, now they're going to come back to the same apartment complex and start to change that area. Now they're going to, even if they move, they won't forget about where they came from. Now those kids that you were serving, teaching them about the Lord, but you know you were doing a lot more serving since they didn't have anything to eat. Now they have something to eat. You are still being the hands and feet of Jesus, but a lot of this heavy lifting, you don't have to do yourself. You don't have to teach them everything. You're just making sure they get to school. You're making sure that people come to you. You're calling up to the college. You're sending the right email and say, hey, can you come out and speak about this? Can you come talk to us about the resources? Because you are a community organization. You are a part of the fabric of Dallas-Fort Worth. You are. You are helping move people along in their life. And now you just grab the hand of the community college that's been here since the 60s, and you say, hey, we want to work with you in getting this done. Well, I'll tell you, the community colleges always want more students. They always want somebody else to be sitting in those classrooms. They always want those stories to say, hey, man, we're really making an impact. This is what it is. There's that problem of poverty, right? But then there's the position of the community colleges, and then you make the plan. How are we going to progress? And then that changes, again, what you're asking for. That changes when you talk to a ministry that wants to give. You're telling them, hey, these are our stats. You're not just talking about the youth. You're talking about the parent, the mom, and the dad that are trying to change the trajectory of their family. And if this may be you, but you probably know some folks whose life looked one way until they finally got that one job. And all of a sudden, things opened up for them a little bit more. All of a sudden, they learned more. They saw more. They knew what else was possible. This is really what my heart is. Whenever I get a parent, whenever I get a student, and they start talking about issues that relate to systemic poverty, I say, okay, well, how do we break that? How do we change that? Did you know about this program over here? Did you know about that program over there? Have you went by there? It's $79 a credit hour. These are the things that I say because I know that they're going to provide a path for them to get out of this situation. It might take some time. It might take 2 years. It might take 3 years. But you and I both know, you've been doing this long enough to know, 3 years on one side is better than 3 years on the other side. If we can get you through this 3 years and that changes to where you're not working in retail anymore, but you're actually working on a career path, you work in a hospital now, you're the person that's taking my blood, you're the person that's helping out my son or my daughter, that's you? Oh, I would love that. And your household has changed? This is where you come in. So that's the question. Have we left anything on the table? Have you leveraged your relationship with the community colleges? As ministries, I think many times we try to shoulder it ourselves. We will take it on. We'll figure it out. We will try to help them because we know them. We know them. We see what they're going through. And we don't have to convince anybody else. We say, well, we'll just help. But what if the community colleges are already present to help you change the situation? What if they already have mechanisms for this? What if it's just one call or one email that sends resources your way? What if you got some people in your neighborhood where you minister and they're trying to start a small business? Dallas College has that Goldman Sachs 10,000 group. And I think out of all of those businesses in total, I think they produced over $1 billion. Those businesses did, and they're all in the Metroplex. That's not $1 billion abroad. They're all over here. Well, those are resources that are available to the community colleges. It's a ton of resources, it's a ton of access, and it's not exclusive. These are the things that you want as a ministry. You don't have to go in there and put on and act like this or that. You don't have to feel like they've never seen students like yours. No, they've seen all the students that ever existed. This is where it's at. These are great partners to have.